Good morning. Please rise in body or spirit, and we'll gather by singing hymn 391. Also, please put your phones in worship mode, whatever that may be, but preferably without any noise. So, 391, voice still and small.
We light this chalice, symbol of our purpose to bring more love and justice into the world. We light this chalice knowing our congregation as a church dispersed across communities, not bound by walls, but connected through partnership and the web of life. Let me begin in Hungarian. Jó reggelt kívánok, St. János, and in English, good morning, St. John's.
Good morning.
We welcome all who enter here with respect and caring for who you are. Let me also extend a special welcome to any visitors who've joined us this morning. We hope you will join us for coffee and conversation after the service. This morning, our service is led by lay leaders. Our interim minister, Reverend Jen Grayson, is not here, but she'll be back again next week. I am Mary Darner, and I am here today on behalf of my husband Tom and myself to say a few introductory words about this morning's service. The reason I have greeted you in Hungarian is that our church is partnered with a Hungarian-speaking Unitarian church in a little rural village halfway around the world, not in Hungary, but in Romania. Unitarian churches are common there as you travel from village to village in the Transylvania region, much more common than Unitarian churches are here in North America. What I want to share with you is the immeasurable gifts we have received from our partners. Though they are without monetary wealth, they have opened our eyes to the preciousness of our faith, telling us the stories of imprisonment and even deaths of their leaders under communism, and bringing to life incredible stories of courage of Unitarian history throughout the centuries. If you thought this is a modern faith born in recent times, think again. We've learned about how their Unitarian faith and their practice of it mirrors our own and is different from ours. Those learnings challenge us to reflect on our own faith and to question. And we are further challenged to be accepting of our differences that come from different histories. On our first visit there, Tom and I were greeted by congregants who had waited hours for our arrival. We went down a reception line, shook hands with each congregant, and I was overwhelmed by each of the men kissing my hand. We did not know each other. We could not speak each other's language, but we were taken in lovingly. We quickly learned that it is a custom when visitors arrive at someone's home, usually unannounced, it is time for celebrating those relationships, stopping whatever is going on and giving full attention and hospitality to these visitors. Now that is welcoming. For those of us who have visited Nyaradszentlaszlo, immersion in a different culture from our own has been an eye-opening experience. When you see others' values and how they live them, it makes you think about your own values and how you live them, and maybe how you might want to change how you live them. As visitors to St. Laszlo, we've been reminded of the impact of having little, of making the most of the resources one has, and the necessity of mutual dependence for survival. Growing vegetables and fruits and raising chickens, rabbits, and pigs provides food for the year, not cash and grocery stores. Mutual aid through the exchange of services and cooperative building projects are more common than the purchase of skilled work. Early on, taking oranges as a gift to the village resulted in the question, are these for the children? We were called up short. We forget. We live with so much, so readily available, it is hard to realize how others live. This partnership has survived 33 years due to mutual trust, respect, genuineness, commitment, and caring. It has been a constant learning and transformational experience for Tom and myself and for many others. We know we have extended family in St. Laszlo that will be with us throughout our lives. Today, Tom and I officially hand over our leadership duties for St. John's Partner Church effort to Emily Hodges, Lynne Schuster, and Charles Spencer, and wish them well. We wish for them, for the Partner Church team, and for all who get involved in this partnership, many learnings, many friendships, and much personal growth. And now I understand we have video greetings, I believe, from Reverend Szilagyi Silimer, our Partner Church minister in Transylvania.
Hello for everybody. Hello, St. John's Unitarian Church in Cincinnati. My name is Szilagyi Silimer, and I want to hug you all and wish the best for you all in Cincinnati, in the church in St. John's. I sent this video because two of the most biggest persons in the congregation of St. John's Church are retiring, Mary and Tom. Dear Tom and Mary, when I arrived 4 years ago to Nyaradszentlaszlo, and I searched some pictures in the secretary room. The most of pictures was about you, Mary and Tom, and I realized how important are these two persons in the partnerships in the St. Laszlo's life and in St. John's Unitarian Church's life. I heard about from Emily you both wants to retire because you had served three grandchildren. I want to say and I want to pray and I want to say send my hope for your grandchildren, and I'm very happy because it means you two all are grandparents. And I want to say the congregation in St. Laszlo gives for you to all big hugs and warm wishes. And you know, Tom and Mary, it's not a retirement. I think two very active people like you, Tom and Mary, didn't go to retire from the congregation. I think in your heart and in your mind and in your soul, you two always be a part of congregation, members of congregations in St. Laszlo, and members too in Cincinnati, in St. John's. And the short part of this video, I want to say hello for Emily and for Mary Lynne. Welcome on the board, and let's do it together, something magical. God bless you all.
We're now going to sing hymn 1043, Csekalai Aldash. So we'll sing it through 3 times. First time is top line, part 1. Second time is part 2. And then Edie's going to sing part 1, and I'm going to sing part 2, because that's the third verse, is choose one. Okay, here we go. Please rise.
Good morning. We will now repeat the affirmation. This is the mission of our faith, to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to revere both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to witness to all that we must hold the whole world in our hands. This is the time for joys and concerns. Every week we create a space in our worship service to honor the joys and concerns that have... You're after the story for all ages, Howard. I think. Oh, I'm sorry. Howard Tolley will please come up and talk about Split the Plate for Planned Parenthood of Southwest Ohio. Pardon.
On behalf of the six-member Outreach Committee, I have a two-part agenda this morning. Our operating budget has $2,500 for grants to nonprofit organizations. And we have, over the years, used Split the Plate, these outreach grants, and former recipients are eligible for grants of up to $2,000 or $500. The deadline for those applications is November 15th. Linda Heath has information. The form to apply is on the website. There needs to be a St. John's sponsor for an organization to apply for that. Before Nina and I joined St. John's 35 years ago, this congregation had taken a vote to affirm a woman's right to choose. And because there is such an important issue on the November ballot, the Outreach Committee decided that we should split our plate in October with Planned Parenthood of Southwest Ohio. And if you wish to give 100% of your contribution today instead of half, there are envelopes available. You could raise your hand during the offertory and somebody will bring you an envelope and you can put cash in it, and 100% will go to Planned Parenthood of Southwest Ohio. Or if you're writing a check, in the subject line you just would write 100% to Southwest Ohio. And those on Zoom, there is a way to give online as well. So I'm very pleased today to introduce Liz Taylor Bontrager, the Senior Director of Development for Planned Parenthood of Southwest Ohio, to tell us about the good work on education and medical care, prenatal care for that organization. Liz, welcome to St. John's.
Thank you so much, Howard. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
As Howard mentioned, my name is Liz Taylor Borntrager. I am Senior Director of Development for Planned Parenthood Southwest Ohio region, and first and foremost, I want to thank you all so much for opening your arms and your minds and your hearts and inviting me here today. It's a great honor to be part of a church community and to be welcome. So I really appreciate that, first and foremost. Many of you probably know a lot about what's been politicized about Planned Parenthood, what's been partisanized about Planned Parenthood. But just like our faith journeys and the things that we explore within our own minds, we really, at Planned Parenthood, want people to realize and to be the best people that they can be. Their vision of whatever God has in store for them, right? And so for me as a person of faith, I feel I was called to work at Planned Parenthood Southwest Ohio region because of the amazing work that we do for the community. Because when you empower women and you lift them up in the community, you give them the ability just to lift up the whole community together, to raise our children, to choose when and if they have children. But most importantly, right now, as we started praying with our feet back, I mean, some of us have been doing it our whole lives. I'm sure this is not the first time you've all been praying with your feet about social justice issues along reproductive rights and healthcare. It is a human right to be able to access healthcare and to be able to access it equitably and affordably. And for me, this journey started a very long time ago. And really, when it comes down to it, having the ability to access care was there when I needed it. And it allowed me to be the person to have the children that I have today. So, today, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about some of our services. We have very robust education services that include services for individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities. Those programs are all focused on care and self-sufficiency and hygiene and relationships. So very often those are topics that individuals who are caregivers of people who may have developmental or different kinds of capabilities to be self-sufficient, right? So to be able to give them education that they need to be able to maybe use a restroom comfortably, with hygiene, sensory issues, or other things. But also, as a safety net healthcare organization, beyond the education work and the programs that we've launched here that are being replicated across the country, we're providing services for individuals who cannot get services anywhere else. So a lot of people, when they think of Planned Parenthood, they think of clinics. They don't necessarily think of a medical home or of a place that is a doctor's office, that is a health center for an individual. Right now, at Planned Parenthood Southwest Ohio region, we don't turn anyone away due to their insurance status. We don't turn anyone away due to their ability to pay or not pay. And as you may know, your own personal challenges with the healthcare system and private providers, sometimes there can be a 3-month wait to get an appointment. Well, someone can call us, they can get an appointment. We can help them work around their work schedules, we can get them in, we can get them care that they need. And about 80% of the people that come to us, we are their only healthcare provider, which means we're the only people taking their blood pressure, talking to them about maybe smoking cessation or potential heart disease or other things like that. So as a lot of the community's only healthcare provider, 80% of our patients, it's really important that we support the work that's being done in the health centers beyond providing abortion care. It's important that abortion care is available for people that need it. And coming up here in November, being able to protect and access individuals' rights to make their own personal private decisions is going to be on the ballot with issue 1. So if you have any questions about the issue at all, Howard's got my contact info, but I'll be around here afterward. And I just so appreciate you all listening to me, welcoming me, and supporting this really important piece of healthcare that serves our community, about 20,000 people each year. So God bless you all, and thank you so much. Peace be with you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to belong to a church that supports Planned Parenthood of Southwest Ohio. Now is the time for the Stones, because every week we create space in our worship service to honor the joys and concerns that have come into our lives. In a moment, you may come forward and place a stone in the sand. If you'd like your joy or concern spoken out loud, please leave a note on the table, or if you are watching online, you may write your joy or concern into the chat, and it will be read from the pulpit later in the service. And now I saw a couple of young people. This is the time for those who are young or young at heart to come forward for a story. I hope you will. And can you sit so you can see the screen? Face up here. Because we're going to show pictures on the screen. Thank you very much. This is the hardest part. Have you ever heard a story that starts once upon a time long ago? Maybe? Well, once upon a time long, long ago, there was a village far, far away in a country called Romania. And in the western part of that country was a region called Transylvania and a very small village on the Nyarad River called Nyaradszentlaszlo. The people there were farmers who lived in the countryside. Are there pictures up there yet? Okay. They grew vegetables in their large gardens. They kept beehives. And if they prospered, they could buy a cow or maybe even a horse to help them plowing the dirt to plant crops and to harvest them. They planted trees to grow fruit and nuts, and they used wooden machines called looms to weave cloth and small rugs from the wool that they combed from the sheep that they raised. In the village was a very, very old church. It was once a Roman Catholic church, but over 400 years ago, it became a Unitarian church, just like St. John's. Well, maybe not exactly like St. John's. Here's a picture of the belfry of the church. That's where the bells are kept. The bells are in the very, very top part, and if you look closely, you will see the steps that lead from the ground under a long roof, going partway up the belfry with more stairs inside that go to the top. It's got a really long ladder in that you have to climb up. There's a wooden fence around the church with a beautiful carved gate. Many years ago, way before you were born, we became friends with the people in the village and with the members of the church, and we formed a partnership. Here are some of the grown-ups. And here are some of the children. Two of the girls in this picture are wearing traditional handmade dresses that they wear for special occasions. Over the 33 years of our partnership, we have made 14 different trips to St. Laszlo. We made a special quilt as a gift to the church. It has a great big picture of St. John's in the middle, surrounded by pictures of our members and strips of white cloth with the signatures of the members of St. John's. Everyone here took part in making the quilt, and it is very, very special to us and to the people of St. Laszlo. My last photo is of some of our very favorite friends in the village. The tall woman in the middle is Rosia, the wife of the minister during the years when I visited the village 4 different times. And the woman on the right with the white name badge is Kathy Roma, who directed our choir on 2 different trips where we sang in the church and in other churches in the area.
There are many more pictures from our partner church on the wall in Krollpfeifer, where we have coffee, and in the display case near the front door. I hope you and your families will look at them after the service today and other times when you come to church. And we will be happy to tell you more stories about our visit to Nyaradszentlaszlo and our partner church anytime you ask. So thank you very much. Now I think it's time to go to your classes.
Were there any cares or concerns in the chat? I don't see any notes on the table. Okay, then we will go on. The next is a prayer and meditation read by Edie Holder.
Egy az Isten. That in Hungarian means God is one. And it's a very important words that are all over the churches and in Romania. Egy az Isten, God is one. Now we sang a traditional Transylvanian blessing in the hymn that we sang earlier. And here is another. I am Unitarian. I live and work in this faith. Jesus is my guide, and God is my help. We humans are all brothers and sisters. Our law is one, love. The goal of our work is shared. Happy are those of God's kingdom. And now I'd like to read a prayer that was written by Mark Bellatini, who's a UU minister who has visited this church. And it's all about that all-important word, love. Love, you are strong as a dark blue mountain. Love, you are as fluid as a wide silver river. Love, you are as splendid as clear night sky. Love, you are as mysterious as a dark forest. Love, you are as wise as enduring friendship. Love, you are true power, not mere distraction. Truth, not deceit. Purpose, not impulse. Poetry, not prose. Sing, not sang. Now, more than tomorrow. But tomorrow, more than yesterday. Love, condense yourself into this moment. Permeate the silence that joins us in community so that in the fire of the words to come, the promises of this hour might be sealed in peace. Amen.
Now, will the ushers please come forward to take the offering? Remember, if you do want to split or put everything in the plate will be split unless you want to indicate that it all goes to Planned Parenthood or all to the church. But we'll do the offering now.
Please join me in responsive reading number 566 in the Gray Hymnal. These are the words of Francis David, who was an early leader in the Unitarian Church in Transylvania. I'll read the regular type and you all can respond with the italicized version. God is one. In this world, there have always been many options about faith and salvation.
You need not think alike to love alike.
There must be knowledge in faith also.
Sanctified reason is the lantern of faith.
Religious reform can never be all at once, but gradually, step by step.
If they offer something better, I will gladly learn.
The most important spiritual function is conscience, the source of all spiritual joy and happiness.
Conscience will not be quieted by anything less than truth and justice.
We must accept God's truth in this lifetime. Salvation must be accomplished here on earth.
God is indivisible.
Egy az Isten.
God is one. So, last week we had our first partner church soup and bread lunch of the year. Okay, so first of all, we love to share a meal. A potluck might as well be a UU sacrament. And soup is good food. But what is the partner church program, and what is the bigger picture here? So the sister church program, what we now refer to as the partner church program of the Unitarian Universalist Association, the UUA, was first founded in 1990. St. John's was a part of this from the very beginning. We got matched up with our sister church, the Unitarian Church of Nyaradszentlaszlo, which was the Hungarian name, and Sanvasi, which is the Romanian name, in Romania. This program's purpose was to reach out to the 130 Unitarian congregations in the Transylvanian region of Romania, which is the birthplace, as you've heard, of Unitarianism, to help them rebuild after the occupation and the active persecution of people of Unitarian faith by the Communist Party from 1945 to 1989. This program by the UUA was a concrete way to help rebuild religious freedom in Transylvania by encouraging American congregations to become a sister church with one of those churches. So any snapshot, any look at one moment in time does not really give any true sense of the importance of our connection there, or the depth and breadth of the roots of our faith. So I want to try and give you an overview of the history and why our connection to this place and these people matter so much. Some of you are very, very familiar with this history. Some have heard bits here and there, and some this is new. So we're just going to kind of get an overview. There is, of course, so much more to this story, but I want to share with you the parts that meant a lot to me to help me understand this. So the history of that part of the world is very complicated. The people and their culture and their faith go back centuries, but the land that they're on has been taken back and forth by different countries many times over the years. So one thing to help understand this is that in 1920, as part of the treaties and agreements out of World War I, the Transylvanian part of northern Hungary was taken away from Hungary and just given to Romania. So what that means is many Hungarians who had been with their land for generations were now suddenly no longer citizens of Hungary. They were now a Hungarian ethnic minority in Romania. And then, throughout the Soviet occupation of Romania from 1945 to 1989, the Communist Party imposed the Sovietization of public life. It dissolved private organizations of all kinds. It severely curtailed the ability of clergy to perform their spiritual and educational tasks. Families were taken away from their homes and their farms and moved to collectives or to cities. Their property was taken. And with any occupied and persecuted people throughout all of our history, their faith became a cornerstone for them, a very important part of their survival as a people and as a culture. In 1989, after the revolution, they were able to start rebuilding their independence, and it started from the basis of their faith and their community they had maintained throughout that period. So that's part of it. The region's history can also be traced and understood through the religions of its inhabitants. So, and as you've heard reference to already this morning, Unitarianism as an organized church has been around a while. It grew out of the Protestant Reformation of the 16th century. It started in Poland and Transylvania in the 1560s, and from the very first thoughts about it, within about 10 years, it became a recognized religion in Transylvania. This is considered the birthplace of Transylvanian thought, and we evolved where we are right now from the freedom of choice in religion that started for the very first time in modern American history. There was the Edict of Torda in 1568, which some of you are very familiar with. A monarch decreed that his citizens could choose from several recognized religions. Rather than imposing one state religion everybody had to believe to under pain of persecution. Now, they got to choose from Catholic, Lutheran, Calvinist, and Unitarian.
no Jews, no Muslims, no anything else. So it still wasn't the full religious, what we think of as religious freedom. But this was such an important step towards our free thought today. Those of us at St. John's, American Unitarians, Universalists, we have learned so much about our historical roots in Transylvania Unitarianism through our personal relationships than we ever would have understood through classes or books or the internet. Unitarianism in that region is the longest continuing form of this religion in the world. And we have come to appreciate what courage it has taken to keep that faith alive in spite of the wars and long-going and ongoing oppression. For them, Unitarianism is a faith that cannot be taken for granted. So, in our personal history here at St. John's, which you've also heard some about this morning, an important phase of our partnership, we were matched in 1990, but in 1994, Mary and Tom Darner were able to visit them. And over the years, many of us have had the opportunity to visit and experience their incredible hospitality and caring and learn more about the roots of our faith. The choir traveled there in 2001 to sing in Unitarian churches, and then again in 2014. 48 St. Johners made a pilgrimage and got to sing in churches and connect throughout the area. So that trip in May of 2014 with the choir, that was the one I had a huge privilege to be a part of. It was one of the most impactful experiences of my life. I was kind of new to Unitarianism. I'd come from the Catholic Church where there's this huge history, we've encompassed the world, but learning the roots of this religion and that it was out of love and out of community and out of commitment was just so meaningful to me. Learning the history of that part of the world, the history of our faith, by hearing the stories of their lives. The occupation was not ancient history. These were people that had lived through it. And it was really significant to me. I learned about the resilience of the people. I got to know individuals and what was important to them and about their family histories. We stood in churches that were 500 years old, older than our country. We saw the actual rock that Francis David was said to have stood on when he first delivered his message of love and Unitarianism. So we've had at least 14 trips from the members of St. John's to St. Laszlo. Each of those trips has created stronger connections and relationships and friendships. We've also sponsored trips for their ministry and congregants to come here as well. We have worked at walking in each other's shoes, expanding our minds and our faith. We've been the recipients of many beautiful handcrafted gifts and incredible hospitality. We've shared many personal gifts with them, such as the quilt you heard described earlier. We have celebrated our partnership with 22 years of partner church dinners, enjoying delicious Hungarian foods. We raised funds for a community building for the congregation. We've provided resources to help maintain their church buildings and supplement their minister's salary. We've supported medical needs and provided school materials. We funded scholarships to send children to Unitarian summer camps. And in 2005, at their request, to help meet one of their needs, we began our Sunday soup and bread lunches that have become such an important part of our culture. It was designed to raise funds that they would use for a weekly loaf of bread for each of the elderly in their congregation, a very direct and basic need. It became a very important part of their care for their congregation and an important part of our culture as well. So, there's some of our history, but things change over time. It is no longer 1990. They are not just a year out of the oppression and persecution of communism struggling to rebuild. They have had many ministers of the last several years. You heard Solomar say he's been there about 4 years, but they had a lot of change in the years before that. He is actively building a new and vibrant community. He is looking towards the future. When Mary and Tom first visited in 1994, one of the main problems was just communication. Just getting letters in and out was a huge struggle. And of course, with technology and email and Zoom, that's certainly no longer the case. We can have a lot of very vibrant communication. So the thing is, we're going through changes as well. We are in a period of reflection and growth in our parish. In this interim minister period, we are examining, recommitting, and revitalizing are important commitments and connections. Tom and Mary have served us long and so well. And as they said this morning, they are supporting new leadership in this partner church. So as I said, Soup and Bread, many of you are most familiar with it through our Soup and Bread program. Reverend Salomar recently ended that particular program because many of the elderly that were benefiting from it have passed away. And the needs have shifted in the congregation. So they have moved their emphasis to working with younger people and families and building a community that will endure while continuing to meet the needs of everybody in the congregation. So this includes renovation of a meeting house that provides a hub, an important source of community. And we recently sent funds to them from our Soup and Bread lunches to support that effort. So even though that particular program has ended, we are still fulfilling the intent. The money we raise in our community lunches continues to support their autonomy and their development. Recently, Reverend Salomar sent to us a letter of thanks, and I'm going to read part of this to you. He meant for this to be shared with the congregation. On August 31st, he sent this. Dear St. John's UU Church, in this letter, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude for the tremendous financial and spiritual support that the Nyaradszentlaszlo congregation and its pastor have experienced over the past 4 years. We especially want to thank you for promptly responding to our call for financial assistance for the renovation of the school museum and the weaving house at the beginning of summer. In this letter, we'd like to extend our thanks for the financial support and the significant effort you have contributed from across the seas. You sent a total of $3,347.92, which, with the help of Tom and Mary, was converted to $15,036.54 lei for the Nyaradszentlaszlo Unitarian congregation. We want to express our gratitude to everyone involved, including the entire congregation and the leadership, for once again deciding to provide financial support. I also want to extend my personal gratitude. Without your assistance, this building would not have survived the summer. There were several storms during the summer causing leaks in the roof, endangering the walls, and even putting the weaving house at risk. Challenges persist even after the renovation. However, the current state of renovation offers hope for the next 5 to 10 years, ensuring the building's preservation and usability. As soon as the renovation was completed, 180 people visited the church, the weaving house, and the school museum we created. This filled every resident of Nyaradszentlaszlo with immense pride. Since then, villagers continually send guests to witness this miracle. Nyaradszentlaszlo has become one of those places, Nyaradamente, with a cultural life. It's not just an old church to visit. It's a space that encompasses the church, the weaving house, the school museum, and the herb garden. This place has become a source of pride for this village, and we thank the American Sister Congregation for this. The full text of his letter of thanks will be in our next e-newsletter as well, so this gets shared with everybody. So, looking forward, where do we go from here? Part of our vision is to have all members of our congregations have the opportunity to understand and connect to these deep foundations of our faith the way some of us have been able to. We want to have chances for visits both ways and ongoing connections. We want to send our young people there so they can have this formative experience and form these connections early in their lives. We want to create dialogue and understanding that enriches both our communities. And through technology, it's possible to have communication and relationships across the globe like never before. While we honor the past and the history of our partnership and what it has meant for all of us, we and our friends and partners in St. Laszlo are committed to reimagining our partnership for decades ahead. Thank you.
I want to call your attention to the announcements in the order of service. And in addition, we have 2 announcements. We'll start with you, and then Wanda.
using this one so that y'all can see this. This is a beautiful piece of artwork in and of itself, in my humble opinion. This is a mural that was painted at Nagel Middle School in Anderson at Forest Hill School District by 5 students 5 years ago. It took them 3 months, 45 minutes every day, to paint this mural in a stairwell in Nagel Middle School. Nagel Middle School is the only middle school in the entire district. So you've got some 20,000 students going through this building. Thankfully, it's only 7th and 8th grade. But every student goes through this building. Last year, we got a new superintendent who decided that there was too much politics in the district and that he wanted to unify the district. So he got a group together, about 30 or so people, and decided to rebrand the district. And they figured out a bunch of values and they decided to put banners all throughout all of the schools. One of those banners covered this mural. Ironically, the banner said connections. This was done without notice. The kids just came back to school and were like, whoa, what happened? This wasn't even a main stairwell, it was a side stairwell. Second day of school, a student took issue with that, and I'm normally not a proponent of property destruction, but this student ripped up the banner. That night, the superintendent painted the mural dark blue, painted over it completely. I may have gotten a little pissed off. So as you see, shirts are available. There are also little stickers that unfortunately I don't have. But I thought, you know what, those are transient items that the kids may or may not see as people walk around. I want them to see that they have the support of the community. And so I decided, Minuteman Press in Anderson had just donated those lovely cards that I was giving out for the Out of the Darkness Walk. And I said, hey, y'all do yard signs too, right? So I ordered 100 yard signs at over $1,000 onto my credit card and prayed that people would buy them. Thankfully, I have sold over 200, and this is now the batch of 300, and I still have 50 more left. So even if you don't live in the district, this is a really cool mural. So if you would like a yard sign, I am selling them for only $15, and I'll be out in the lobby. So, and I mean, essentially it's all about inclusion and love, and I'll be honest, I don't remember what all of the hearts mean, but it's all about inclusion and love. And I'd say love is what Unitarian Universalism is about. So I have more, and I got plenty more in my van. Thank you.
I want to continue the theme of love and the unity of love. This has been such a beautiful service, and I'm really grateful for this service and lifting up the concepts of welcome and hospitality, learning about our UU history and as I said, the unity of love. So, when I come up here, I always talk about Found House, and that's what I'm going to talk about. This is such an exciting day because we are welcoming our first Found House families this evening. For us. I am so proud of us as a congregation that we are doing this, that we decided to do this in a time of transition when our hearts were hurt and there was grief and there was all kinds of things
going on in this transition period. But nobody said, we can't do this, or we have to wait until we have a settled minister. There was just this fundamental sense of, can we do this? Can we do right by the people who are going to be our guests? And the answer was yes. Over and over again, it was yes, we can do this, let's move forward. So incredible gratitude to all of you. I'm going to be back next week to talk a little bit, but I just want to lift up what a momentous day this is. And tremendous amount of work went into planning and getting ready. So many of you have contributed to that. I want to invite you to go downstairs after the service. We set up the rooms so that they look like bedrooms, because that's what they're going to be this week for our guests. So I encourage you to go down there and take a look. I recommend the chairlift. I have used that chairlift dozens of times over the last several weeks to move stuff, up and down. Yeah, so 4 families, 17 guests. Over the course of the week, there will be several dozen volunteers meeting with the families and just providing a safe space and great food and some fun with the kids. So thank you all, and hold us in your hearts this week. Thank you.
We'll now sing Spirit of Life. It's a little different this time. In your insert, first verse will be in English, the second verse will be in Hungarian. And for those of you that are fluent in Hungarian, you can read the middle line. For the rest of us that aren't, we're going to do our best with the pronunciation guide, which is up here, and also the third line. So here we go.
Nothing like an invitation to get you back into a place you love. And nothing like an invitation to bring you back to a place you love. Mary and I sang this song, Spirit of Life, to a old, doesn't seem old now, lady in Nyaradszentlaszlo. We brought her some present, and we sang this to her because she hadn't been able to come to a service, and
she insisted that we take hand-knitted socks, and her hands, which were from working in the garden, were quite gnarled and under the nails and everything. And I thought, this is what we came to Transylvania to do, to give and be given and use music to do it. So I am so grateful to all the times we got to be there. We were roommates. We cried a lot then too. Yeah, and it was a wonderful place, but most importantly, it was part of stitching together our congregation here. And so we have said again, we leave you with the traditional Transylvania blessing. Where there is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is blessing. Where there is blessing, there is God. Where there is God, there is no need. Thank you for being here today.